is an expression of the artist's heart and soul. And for that very reason, it's always difficult to define and categorize.
Two artists connecting to the world through their art, but in very different ways. One taking design inspiration from the streets of India, the other taking inspiration from the struggle to find one's identity in a globalized world. All this in today's episode of The New Creative India, presented by Absolute Music CDs.
Gunjan Gupta trained as a product designer and wanted nothing more than making a bespoke line of chairs using an almost extinct craft. In doing so, she unwittingly found herself closer to the art fraternity than customers.
The artist duo of Thukral Tagra are fascinated by questions of who we are and what defines us. No, they don't give you answers, but they do give you works of art that make you scratch your head, ponder, and come up with your own answers. Heavy questions, but their work is anything but heavy.
The Kiranada Museum of Contemporary Indian Art is located in a South Delhi mall. A private museum in a mall? Why? What is it doing there?
Masters of many mediums and techniques, Thukral and Tagra blur the lines between fine art and popular culture. As they transform the ironies of Indian identity and global consumer culture. Quick to draw or laugh, their art holds a mirror to social norms and makes you wonder.
What was that divine moment when you guys came together?
We met in College of Art, Chandigarh, where I was applying for my undergraduate and he was ragging me. It was a series where I didn't actually get to know that he's a senior of the same college.
We never realized, we never planned to work together, but it happened automatically. 2 years we developed kind of understanding on the working on different projects, knowingly, unknowingly. The email was a very new thing in 2000, and you can send the attachment. It was a new thing, sending attachments, you know, very small attachment or like whatever. So like we start sharing the work by sending attachment. We developed a language called visual dialogue. It's not just talking on the phone, but it was more about the sharing the works. We had around 400 images we shared together. We put it together, and like he work on an image and send it to me. I'll work on the same image and send him back to him by email. In 2003, there was an online competition going on. By 2000, the internet was so developed, so you can send at least 2 MB or 1 MB file. You know, it was easy to send. So we send online entries, the same work. In fact, we collaborated more artists in that same project. Around 2,000 entries. We were the only 2 Indians or 1 Indian selected from there. From India. So it was exhibited in London in 2003. We never got a chance to go back to see the exhibition, but it was the first exhibition happened there.
At that time, the idea of installation, the idea of performative arts in India was very, very tough. It was not even there.
Very nascent early.
Yeah, it wasn't, I mean, the idea of contemporary arts in that sense was very new. There were very few artists who were doing installations. Making Bose Decay project was a performative t-shirt project where you actually wear the t-shirts. For us, it was breaking away from the mold of you wear a work of art and which is handcrafted 20 t-shirts of one sort of a sphere work.
The installation was talking about 5 senses. You can smell.
Okay.
There was a kind of environment we created, so you can get a feel of how it smells. You can smell, you can touch and feel by picking a t-shirt and buying a t-shirt, and you can hear the sound, how people use the local language in a way. While installing the installation, so we made a video and we recorded the sounds, that was part of there. Then you can taste that thing. Then we made a special vodka.
Okay.
We married the vodka every day. We worked with the guy who helped us to make the vodka. So it was vodka was there on the show, so you can taste also. So it was trying to catch all the 5 senses, you know.
So it was basically a very ambitious sort of a beginning. You don't want to really confine yourself to one material, one object. You want to cater to the subject matter from all sides. It's also not that two people can just start together, work together. Let's start together.
Yeah.
It just happens very naturally.
You can't plan it.
You cannot.
It happens spontaneously. So you both have a very strong design background, and design is essentially like solution-oriented problem solving.
Yeah.
How do you think that plays a role in your works?
Now this is very interesting because our approach of creating a sculpture and a product is not different. Our approach is the same. Even if it is a furniture design, it is not really a furniture design for us. It is a sculpture. It may have certain utility, but it may have a lot of history to many other things. So it's an overlap.
So it overlaps in such an amazing manner. How differently do you contribute to Thukral Tagra? Is there any segregation?
There isn't any segregation.
There is nothing like that. It's like we are playing the same game, but the goal is the same, you know. So it's a very playful act.
So essentially, process is an important part of your.
I think that's the only thing. Nothing is finished. It starts with just an idea, seeing somewhere. The first sort of idea where we need to really, this is the area where we need to talk. It can start with a joke. It can start with something very, very serious, and it starts on a sketch. It goes on to finding the right sort of a medium then. It is never jumping onto any final conclusion, but just to maneuver it, just to work it out a little more, and then you see how wonderfully that idea can be executed.
We are still connected to the roots, you know. The Escape project is started from there. We never thought we will work on this project. When I was growing as a kid in Punjab, so I saw all my dad's friends, all the kids, and all are going out of India and moving out of India, and everybody living in his dream when they will go out of India. We can't educate them. We can't take the whole burden on our shoulders and tell them, but we can show through our art, because that's the only window as artists look through, you know. So we thought whatever we can show through our art, we can express it.
How do you visually represent the whole thought of migration?
First of all, how does Indian aesthetics been perceived by the Westerners? You know, that's how's the larger sort of a context. You bring it down to a point where we are using certain analogies, certain metaphors which are global, but has a very Indian sort of a thing. There is this work where we're using the idea of hot air balloons, which are not existing in India, but it is a very Western holiday sort of an idea of travel and flying. The idea of very gigantic air bubble balloon becomes the idea of heated up air with a lot of expectations. One of the recent shows was the idea of queuing up question, so we titled it Q. So we used a lot of airplane windows.
We use the metaphor of like kabaddi playing, but used in the context of how many women. There are like around 2 lakh women are waiting in Punjab who got married but never went to meet their husband. So kabaddi has a metaphor, you go and touch and go to your...
Yeah.
So we used the exhibition called Fixed Match Fixed. So it has 2 titles of exhibition, and exhibition has 2 entrances also. So you can come from the boys' side or you can come from the girls' side. We were trying to address the issue, but in our own way, as a documentary.
Playful manner, I think really would be really good in communicating it to an audience, because it's a playful manner.
That's
it's a heavy
essentially about you guys, that you work on really hard
heavy subjects,
concepts and subjects, but you like to bring it out playfully.
We are 2 people. We're always on 2 sides of the table, working together and trying to play a game. We have actually used many ideas of sport and how we kind of can bend the rules into and mirror it into the society. So we've used kabaddi, wrestling, table tennis, billiards table, pinballs. The idea of bringing together a sport can actually bring a lot of people together. So I think that's how we actually saw it. But then even if we are not playing, we are kind of constantly working on the rules and regulations of it. So there can be a lot of research project which can be then easily depicted out of a sporting sort of an event, and then you can actually disperse the knowledge very easily. It has happened with us when we were working for HIV/AIDS awareness. We made flip-flops, we made products out of it, and then to disperse those products, we actually made an installation right in the bazaar sort of a thing. where we can actually play a game of billiards, and then people can come, and while they come with their family members, we can actually talk about these issues without embarrassing anyone.
Do you think art has the capacity to transform, bring about a change in the society?
We strongly believe in that. We don't want to subscribe ourselves to the mediocrity and being helpless. Like, this is what the art will. This is what our society is, and this is what it does reflect the society. No, I think we need to change that thing to a point that we take control. Some of the people take control at least to bring this sort of a larger change. I think we need to talk to our peers first, get collective, and then actually move on to it. I think there is a time that we all need to work together.
And work as a community too.
Work as a community instead of just being hidden ourselves into the studios.
Yeah, I think art has great potential, and like your work takes people into this dream zone, but it has these subtle messages also. And thank you very much for inviting us and sharing this space with us and the viewers.
On Zolo Hive New Artist of the Week, Nikhil Afale, a master in the art of calligraphy, creates a bespoke theme for the Zolo Hive.
The name of my theme is called CalliCool, and the basic idea is to showcase the calligraphy in a modern and contemporary avatar. For the unlocking screen, I use the big alphabets like a U, C and M. The U represents the unlock, the C means call, and M is message. The user just have to swipe his finger according to the form of the letter. The icons are simple graphics with the brush strokes. It looks like it created with the brush strokes.
On this show, we're always on the lookout for something exciting, something edgy, something new.
And today we're in the heart of Delhi at the best private museum of contemporary art in India.
Let's go have a look.
The Kiranada Museum of Art, or KNMA, wants to make art accessible to people. It was a deliberate decision to house the museum not in a Victorian building, but inside a bustling South Delhi mall. That in itself marks KNMA as a museum like no other.
What does it take to set up a huge space like this on your own?
A lot of endeavor, a lot of passion. Once I started collecting and I had more collection than was fitting on my wall space, at some point I thought I should do something more meaningful with the collection, and thought about building a museum. I didn't realize quite what it entailed. But it's been a very enjoyable and challenging journey. Of course, great challenge in collecting the art and getting meaningful art into place. We got a lot of criticism from museum in a mall.
Really?
Yes. Somebody said it was an abhorrence. So that was the kind of thing. But anyway, everybody's entitled to an opinion.
Absolutely.
But there were 2 or 3 reasons. One, of course, was that it's very hard to find a space.
Appropriate
space which we could have set up a museum in. We decided that we needed to be in Delhi.
Heart of Delhi,
and in a space where people could associate themselves with the museum. So this is how we decided that the mall was very appropriate. To me, I think it's a very appropriate
Fantastic
space.
thought.
Yeah.
KNMA wears 2 hats. In its permanent collection are works by some of the best post-independence artists. Its exhibitions, on the other hand, show the disparate art practices of younger contemporaries.
India has a huge art heritage, centuries and centuries old, and we don't want to lose that. I think it's very important for people to get associated with art. I think it improves their sensibilities, it widens their horizons. I think art has a huge role to play, and a museum like ours is a small endeavor, and I hope it's the first of many which will start up. I hope other people take this example and do set up other museums.
But how can paintings broaden our thinking? The answer can be found in KNMA's current show, Is It What You Think? For the show, KNMA asked artists to react to the many political and social issues facing India. The artists responded to issues that ranged from gender discrimination and rape in the Northeast to the demolition of the Babri Masjid.
What kind of reactions do you get from people that they come here and see the space?
Well, this show has blown people away. We've had people leaving in tears. The works have been very moving, and this show has been very, very admired.
So you see, if news pundits use the pen or words to express their points of view, artists have their mediums.
By locating the museum in an accessible place and choosing engaging issues for their shows, the Kiran Nadar Museum of Art strives to bring art to the masses. Today, it's one of the most important stops in Delhi's art circuit. Slowly but surely, it's transforming the way people look at art and getting them to fall in love with it. Her trademark style involves transforming Indian elements into her sculpted pieces of furniture. She calls her chairs thrones, and for good reason. Gunjan Gupta is working on putting India on the map of luxury product design.
Gunjan, you've studied product design. It's a problem-solving industry, you know. So how did art happen to you?
I did not have a clear distinction when I started out. All I was looking at is there conceptual design in India? And something that really struck me and I felt quite disheartened by was that India was really essentially known as the cheap and cheerful producer for large international companies.
Absolutely.
And there was no one claiming creativity for the production. Straight from college, the first thing that I did was put gold and silver thrones into a trade show. Not one sold.
Okay.
Not one.
Not one sold.
But it was on the cover of all the international magazines. I think it got amazing press, and I had all the top critical thinkers getting interested in the idea of luxury out of India in product. So they started getting attracted, and essentially that's how I stepped into art.
It was the other way around.
That was the other way around. All the ones that were looking at my work or that were encouraging me or were saying or were buying were the art collectors.
So now, do you think the Indian audience is receiving it better?
I think so. People have started to expand their horizons, their imaginations, and all of this is about imaginative design.
Yeah. I think that essentially, you know, I believe talks about your duality as an artist and a designer, where you take the Indian motifs, Indian elements, and you know, use it with these contemporary lines and contemporary shapes and contemporary forms.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I find really interesting is the paradox of India. You know, there I spoke about the gold and the silver on one hand, and on the other hand you have, you know, bamboo, you'll have bori, you'll have a terracotta matka, or you have a bullock cart. And I think it's not possible to escape this duality. And when you're looking at sculpture, you're essentially engaging with a high-end kind of thought process. But when you're looking at the materials, they might be street materials, and it's this juxtaposition that becomes into creates a sculptural form.
Why do you call your sofas and chairs thrones?
I mean, thrones are meant to be, you know, high class and, you know, high status.
For the kings, you know.
These vendors, when you see them on their bicycles, and they have these wares tied around their back, and they literally have a big halo of, you know, whether it's the bori wala or it's the kapda wala, it's the gadda wala. The product is stacked behind them and it's so sculptural. And when they're sitting on their bicycles looking so elegant and proud, just going about their day-to-day lives, is actually quite a treat. And that was the inspiration It's a very well thought out piece of furniture because it's ergonomically sound. It's structurally, it's got metal structure around it, inside it.
That's fair.
You can take it off, wash it. You can do all those sorts of practical things which are not, you don't see them. You see it as sculpture.
Yeah.
But it actually has all the elements of functional design in it.
Being an artist and a designer, you know, playing those dual roles, what is your method of work, you know? Do you prefer a structured method or a process-oriented method?
You know, when you start thinking out of the box, or when you're trying to work within originality and innovation, then it's not possible to follow a structure. Because a structured approach will give you a structured result. I'm more interested in the ambiguity. The time where I feel most creative at the time when I don't know what the outcome is going to be. And it's during that process, you know, when you conceptualize something on paper and then you start to build it, and all sorts of incredible things happen. Accidents.
Okay.
And you know, the guy by mistake has fixed it. And in India, this is India for me, because whatever instructions you pass on are going to be missed. And they'll do their own thing, but the jewels that have come out.
Unplanned things that come out of it.
And those are actually, you know, they propped that matka at a certain angle, and you know, and we've designed it in a certain way, and it's that angle that actually changes the whole perspective.
So you accept that, and
we accept it with joy.
How do you sort of balance the two worlds, you know, your commercial side and your art side?
The studio has now kind of launched a new brand, which is the Gunjan Gupta brand, which is the art design, highly sculptural, the pieces that we've most often seen associated with my work. The Matka collection, the Bori sofa. So these are
more art heavy.
More art heavy.
Okay.
The studio in Delhi is more focused on commercial projects. We're doing real estate projects. We're working with institutional clients on interiors, on product design.
Rap is commercial and Gunjan is the artist that we're talking about.
Absolutely.
So are you transforming more into Gunjan or more into rap?
I'm very fortunate and thrilled that I have this opportunity to focus on Gunjan Gupta through someone who's taking the works forward, a gallery. And in India, I am excited to completely, you know, do a lot of the mass furniture production, interiors.
Along with the taste of art, constantly.
Constant taste of art. Constant taste of art.
Thank you so much, Gunjan, for allowing us into this beautiful space of yours. I'm absolutely overwhelmed. And on that note, let's call it a wrap.
Next week, on the new Creative India presented by Absolute Music series,
we meet artist Asim Waqif, who through his installations attempts a crossover between architecture, art and design.
Along with artist duo Pratik and Gautam, to understand how they broke the glass ceiling to put India on the map of glass art installations.
And a very special event that celebrates artists and their art.